I got this information. I got the information from my colleagues, as always, who I think they're doing a fine job. The Leak Caribbean agenda. It is something that you may not be ready for. Here it is. I've broken it down in phase one is the engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. Phase two, strategic military occupation disguised as peacekeeping. Phase three, Caribbean integration into the Pan Caribbean data net. And then there's why the Caribbean now, why now, and Code Red, Haiti as a spark. Look, guys, these are information. You have to share these videos. You have to watch them to the very end for YouTube to push them so that the community can understand what's happening and more persons could get the information. So let's go with the leaked agenda for the Caribbean conflict 2025, the hidden war for the third arc. We are known as the third arc in the Caribbean. So let's begin here. It says classified strategy document allegedly leaked from an internal meeting of the Western Hemispheric Geostrategic Council, a shadow body believed to coordinate covert operations in the Americas, has revealed what insiders are now calling the Third Arc Initiative. It's a multi-phase destabilization and takeover plan targeting the Caribbean basin in 2025. I know some people said nothing never happens. Well, that's for the unbeliever. That's fine. Phase one, engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. Remember, these things come up in plans. They don't ever come sometimes at the time you think that they would. All right? So it says phase one is the engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. The document outlines a series of spontaneous uprisings to be ignited across Haiti. I think we've already seen what is happening in Haiti. Next, the Dominican Republic. Next, Trinidad and parts of the Lesser Antilles. Do you see a pattern now? Phase one, engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. The document outlines a series of spontaneous uprisings to be ignited across Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Trinidad, and parts of the Lesser Antilles. These are islands like Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Barbados, Lesser Antilles. And you may say, well, Trinidad already has a new government in place. Get ready for it. These uprisings are not grassroots movements, but strategically provoke disruptions using one, weaponized currency inflation via IMF-induced economic assistance. Two, cyber disruptions of public utilities blamed on rogue actors or outdated infrastructure. Three, media psyops planting fake stories of government corruption to turn citizens against local leaders. These are things that are in the works for the Caribbean. They may not happen this year, but this is the leaked document. It says, destabilize the surface, fracture national identity, create a vacuum. Do you see any of these things happening right now? They outlined a number of countries like Haiti. We know what's happening in Haiti. Dominican Republic really don't have much civil unrest going on right now, but they're part of the clan to come up. Trinidad, they're saying, and parts of the Lesser Antilles. Why would Trinidad come up in this document? Anyway, the true goal, toppling nationalist governments, replacing them with compliant technocrats trained in offshore facilities rumored to exist in the Virgin Islands under the guise of climate resilience programs. I've seen a lot of programs out of Virgin Islands talking about climate change. Man, these guys, the information is on point. The information is basically on point. They're talking about toppling nationalist governments. When you look at governments in the region, people are saying Barbados is becoming like a nationalist. St. Vincent is becoming one. They're saying Dominica. And so you hear these people talking about toppling nationalist governments and putting them with compliant technocrats, not politicians, technocrats. Let's move on to phase two. You got to stay with me for the entire video and share the video. You have to watch the entire video and share the video, guys, so that YouTube could push it so others will be able to see it. It says, phase two, strategic military occupation disguised as peacekeeping. Under the pretext of humanitarian aid and anti-piracy operations, U.S. Southern Command SOUTHCOM, I think a lot of know about that, and the EU naval forces are scheduled to deploy joint fleets in mid 2025 under Operation Tidelock. Publicly, this is about securing trade routes. Privately, it's about one, gaining control of maritime choke points between Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Panama Canal. Where did the Panama Canal came up lately? You think this is a joke, eh? Establishing forward operating bases in the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. Securing deep sea rare earth mineral fields recently discovered in the Caribbean seabed. Yes, minerals, not democracy, are the real reasons the Caribbean is being turned into a hot zone. Guys, this is crazy. You got to listen to the entire end. I've heard about Southcom. I know about the U.S. Southern Command. I know about the EU naval forces. We'll look out for this one. Look out for this one. Phase 3, let's move on there. Caribbean integration into the Pan American Data Net. I guess a lot of you haven't heard about that one, right? It's a job political control is achieved. The final phase begins. Integration of all Caribbean states into a singular digital infrastructure connected to the larger PADN system, a hemispheric surveillance and financial grid dominated by US based private intelligence contractors. Look, the US is moving to stablecoin. People are investing billions of dollars in it. East Caribbean Central Bank moving to Dcash 2.0. A lot of things are moving fast, guys. Elements include a regional digital currency replacing Eastern Caribbean dollars linked to biometric ID. No wonder these countries are all moving to the biometric ID. I think Ghana said they're rolling out by 2026 January. I think Jamaica's already forward there. I heard some Vincent talking about it. Look, a regional digital currency replacing the Eastern Caribbean dollars linked to biometric ID. Mandatory carbon compliance tracking tied to tourism and trade access. Full spectrum data collection on population movement, speech, and digital behavior. Have you heard about this thing in Antigua where they said that the government can actually track everybody's WhatsApp? They can get all the messages they want and stuff like that. Oh my God. PADN will ensure peace, prosperity, and accountability. Oh my Lord. It's translated from the French Creole, actually, ironically, basically. So the question is, why the Caribbean now? 3 reasons. Geostrategic control. The Caribbean sits at the intersection of US-China naval influence, and Beijing has already invested heavily in port infrastructure via the Belt and Road Initiative. Control the Caribbean, and you can cut China's reach into the Americas. Look, this is something that the United States is pushing for deeply right now in removing China from its backyard. 2, climate Trojan horse. Climate change fears are being exploited as justification for occupation. Rising sea levels are real, but the militarized response is not about rescue. It's about resource capture. I see a lot of leaders in the Caribbean talking about climate change and climate change. I don't think a lot of them really understand what is going on and why they're being used as pawns in these games. But that's for them. Soft power. With many Caribbean nations facing debt, corruption, and crumbling institutions, they are ripe for intervention and replacement. The world won't bat an eye if peacekeeping forces sweeping under blue helmets, right? We love to see these peacekeeping forces and they come in, oh yeah, they're doing a great job, like what they did in Haiti. A real good job. Code Red, Haiti as the spark. Haiti has been in so much turmoil and continues to be exploiting ground for these people. Internal memos suggest that Haiti is the ignition point with its government already destabilized. A false flag assassination again or UN complicit humanitarian disaster is expected mid 2025. Watch for sudden media tension, foreign troops landings, and a rollout of biometric aid systems. Once it is under control, they say that the dominoes will continue to fall. So basically, guys, the thing is when you hear the words regional stability, climate resilience, or emergency aid in the near future, I want you all to pay attention, or in the coming months, Notice that they're not coming to help any of us right here. They're coming to own us. And I mean, really and truly, these Caribbean conflicts that they have on paper may never come this year. But it isn't about war, it's about strategic absorption. So basically, what you're seeing here is that the oceans are not the only thing rising. Guys, remember, I want you to share the videos far and wide. You have to watch them to the very end if you want YouTube to push the channel and to get the information to a wider community. Don't forget what's happening. See it on the screen there. Keep it in mind. You can go back and look at the video. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for viewing, guys.
I want to know if your country would stand by Guyana militarily if Venezuela were to attack this country to others.
It would be a very bad day for the Venezuelan regime if they were to attack Guyana or attack ExxonMobil or anything like. It would be a very bad day, a very bad week for them, and it would not end well for them.
Por ahí sale el imbécil de Marco Rubio amenazando a Venezuela desde Guyana. Imbécil. A Venezuela no le amenaza a nadie porque esta es la patria de los libertadores. Esta es la patria de Bolívar. Imbécil.
All right, guys, welcome back to the program. I want somebody to tell me what was the real reason for Rubio coming to the Caribbean rally. Honestly, anybody, leave your comments in the section below. Let me know what was the real reason Rubio came to the Caribbean. I just need to know. That's all. Nothing else. Dragon gas deal not dead. The PM says no firm U.S. commitment, but TNT moving full speed ahead. So the U.S. is not giving any commitment on the Dragon gas deal. Well, then it's dead. Rowley said if that deal fell through, Trinidad's Cooke would be cooked. Rowley knew exactly what he was talking about. So my question is, why the hell did Rubio come to the Caribbean? What was his reason for coming rally? Look at what he said before he came here. U.S. State Department confirmed that Secretary Rubio will discuss a commitment to developing Trinidad's gas production for Caribbean energy security during discussions with CARICOM leaders in Kingston, Jamaica. However, Rubio will tell Caribbean leaders that U.S. will not support any further regional dependency on Venezuela. Do you get that? The Dragon gas deal is with who? It's with Venezuela and Trinidad. So here's what Rubio said before he came. He said, I'm going to tell them when I go there that the U.S. will not support any further regional dependency on Venezuela. Okay then. Well, the Dragon gas deal is dead. The confirmation came during a State Department briefing on Wednesday before Rubio's trip to the region. So this is what he said before he left. The position laid out by U.S. Special Envoy for Latin America, Clever Coran, has raised more questions on whether the Dragon gas agreement between Venezuela and TNT, supported by a U.S. license and limited sanction waivers, will materialize. Well, the Chevron license is gone. We don't know if Trinidad will get to keep this license because it was incoerced with Venezuela. And he's saying that any dependency on Venezuela for oil in the Caribbean, that done. We're not going to help that anymore. We're not supporting that. But anyway, they said they're deeply committed to working with Trinidad on the gas issue, but they did not make any pronouncement on the Dragon gas matter. So I don't know what Rubio came to tell people really. Like I always say, and everybody gets vexed with me. But for me, these people come to tell you what they want, not to listen to you. But Rubio came here. Let me just go to what Young said. For now, the Dragon gas deal is not dead, is what he said. In fact, government is moving full speed ahead to fulfill the energy arrangement with Venezuela. This was confirmed by the Prime Minister at the post-cabinet briefing yesterday after he met with the U.S. Secretary of State. While the initial communique released by U.S. government concerning the meeting did not include an issue of talks cross-border gas field deals with Trinidad as in place with Venezuela, Young yesterday said he did broach the topic with Secretary Rubio. I then took the discussion to the Dragon gas deal, to our relationship with Venezuela, and emphasized the importance not only to Trinidad, but I was also able to set out how it would affect the rest of the CARICOM region because of the important role we play in supporting some of our CARICOM brothers and sisters. This is the benefit of a respectful relationship. This is the benefit of what we've built up over the past few years with these decision makers in the United States. And when my predecessor and myself have spoken to you and told you we speak to persons on both sides of the aisle. However, he said the other half of the gas field in Trinidad waters would still be in play should the Dragon gas deal be impacted by U.S. policy. Yes, listen to me. That dead. That done dead. Let us get over that. But Rubio was here to stoke and fan the flames of war with Venezuela and Guyana. Listen to this one.
I want to know if your country would stand by Guyana militarily if Venezuela were to attack this country, and what would be the U.S.'s response should Venezuela attack U.S. oil major ExxonMobil, which is operating in Guyana's waters?
It would be a very bad day for the Venezuelan regime if they were to attack Guyana or attack ExxonMobil or anything like. It would be a very bad day, a very bad week for them, and it would not end well for them. I'm not going to get into details of what we'll do. We're not big on those kinds of threats. I think everybody understands, and I want it to be clear. We've made this clear repeatedly. I think the U.S. Navy today is making it clear and demonstrating our ability to. We have a big Navy, and it can get almost anywhere. It can get anywhere in the world. And we have commitments that exist today with Guyana. We want to build on those, expand on.
Por ahí sale el imbécil de Marco Rubio amenazando a Venezuela desde Guyana. Imbécil. A Venezuela no la amenaza a nadie porque esta es la patria de los libertadores. Esta es la patria de Bolívar. Imbécil. Y que esto es un régimen, que es una dictadura. En su vida, Marco Rubio ha visto una asamblea popular. Ha ido a un barrio porque ellos son de la élite corrupta de Miami. Muy corruptos, que odian a Venezuela. Él es el padrino a la Sayona. La Sayona no va ni para el baño si no le consulta a Marco Rubio. Traidor a la patria. Banda de traidores. Miren lo que le han hecho a los migrantes venezolanos. ¿Quién pidió que persiguieran a los migrantes? ¿Quién pidió y apoyó que los mandaran secuestrados a El Salvador? ¿Quién? Que lo diga el pueblo. La Sayona criminal vende patria, y este pueblo tiene que saberlo, que esa criminal más temprano que tarde ante la justicia va a responder lo que le ha hecho a este pueblo. Brisas de Oriente.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments in the section below. Something is about to go down. There's too many distractions happening all at once. I'm not sure if you have your eyes wide open or if you're sleeping on guard, but if you are, you need to wake up. Something is about to go down. I call this the one big beautiful distraction. Something is just too much because there's a sudden flood of distractions. It's just happening one after the next now. It's like the world is in a place where you don't want it to be, and you have the feeling, you know something is just not right. That's the feeling that's happening right now. I don't know how many of you understand what I'm saying. Leave your comments in the section below, guys. For instance, this one is the biggest one of all right now. This is a major distraction that's taken up all of the news cycles of the major Western media. It's crazy. Nothing else is being talked about except this one with Trump and Elon Musk. And then you have right here in the Caribbean. Yeah, that's a photo. You remember that photo, right? That's right. You need to remember that. She once advocated for him, saying that there should be a non-intervention and people must stay out of Venezuela's business. That's right. But this is the latest distraction that's popping up. I mean, Venezuela has been in the news forever because of what it's doing, but this is the latest distraction after Trump. And I'm saying there's too many things happening at once, and then all of a sudden, measles outbreak. It's just outbreaking everywhere. Something is going down, guys. I hope you have your eyes and ears open. I hope you're not sleeping on guard, because the elites are up to something, and it appears to me that they're gearing up for a global paradigm shift. And most of the time when they're doing this, they need the world to be looking the other way. And I think that is what is happening right now. I mean, you can say what you want, but I think that is what is going on right now. Gearing up for something. Then you have this one. This one had eased out of the news, and all of a sudden, it's taken up the news cycle again. This one between Zelensky and Putin is in the news cycle one more time, and it's heating up in the news cycle again. So something is going on. And then all of a sudden, let's have a ban. Let's have a travel ban. So this one is now inside of the news cycle as well. I say to you guys, please wake up. Leave your comments in the section below. There's too much distractions going on right now. There's something amiss that is expected to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I believe it's going to happen very soon because there's just too much distraction happening. I am calling this the displacement strategy right now. COVID is back, a new variant taking over so many countries in the world. So many countries in the world. The new COVID variant is back and surging in all kind of different countries. You notice that the St. Lucia Ministry of Health put out a bulletin saying that they're monitoring the new variant. Yes. Everybody's playing the game. Everybody's playing the game. So many distractions happening all at once. A lot of people are sleeping, They don't understand what's going on. While everybody's caught up in their petty little politics in their little island, a lot of things are happening on the international scene. Of course, you have this one. That piped down, piped up, piped down, piped up. It's back in the news cycle again after the last election in the Essequibo, basically that the Venezuelans held. I don't know, but something is amiss. And I'm thinking to myself that these elites are up to something. Whatever it is, I don't know. But you're not supposed to notice the pattern unless somebody lets you know. I'm letting you know because there's a pattern going on here. But you're not supposed to notice it. And if you notice it, it means that you're ahead of the curve. Something is going down. Just keep watching it. Keep your eyes open. Pay attention. Pay attention to all these glitches that they're having in reality right now. Because when AI starts telling you it's not listening to human beings and it's writing its own script, then you know something is about to be unveiled upon this planet. Guys, have a good weekend. Leave your comments in the section below. I want to hear from you on this one, and make sure you share this video far and wide so that people will know that something is about to go down. Watch it, share it. Don't be afraid. We need to let the community know something is about to go down. And they shall say peace, peace. And what happens? Sudden destruction coming. Of late, we've been hearing about peace in the Congo and Rwanda. We've been hearing about peace deal between Israel and Iran. We've been hearing about peace almost in every quarter of the world. India and Pakistan. And now President Trump is seen as a man of peace. And he's looking to have peace also in Russia and Ukraine. I will tell you something. The present is a time of overwhelming interest to all living. Rulers and statesmen who occupy positions of trust and authority, thinking men and women of all classes, whether they're rich or they're poor, have their attention fixed upon the events taking place about us. They're watching the relations that exist among the nations, and currently you see what is happening, or recent tragedy between Iran and Israel. They observe the intensity that is taking possession of every earthly element. And they're also recognizing that something great and decisive is about to take place in this world. The world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. Clearly, the calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of our society, whether it be murders, rapes among them, destruction of families, the alarms of war, the forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude on this earth. And so the agencies of evil, Hasatan, what are they doing right now? They're combining their forces and considering. They're strengthening for the last great crisis. I'm going to tell you something. Great changes are soon to take place in our world. And the final movements will definitely be rapid ones. The question is, are you prepared? I began with the text saying, "For when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman, and they shall not escape." What does it mean? Actually, this verse highlights the unexpected and unavoidable nature of the day of Yah, which will come upon those who are not prepared, like a thief in the night. It emphasizes the worldly assurances of peace and safety will be shattered when Yah's judgment arrives. Right now, it's just peace and safety we are hearing. Peace, peace, peace everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you're hearing about peace. And Thessalonians 5:3 serves as a warning to Yah believers to be vigilant and prepared for the day of the Lord, which will come as a surprise to those who are not awake, spiritually awake, that is. And so the word actually encourages believers, those who believe in Yah, to live in anticipation of his return and to encourage one another in their faith. And I could elaborate on this text even more. If you look on the screen, it says, "For when they shall say peace and safety." What does this actually mean? Well, the phrase is actually describing the state of mind of those who are caught off guard by the day of Yah. They will be proclaiming peace and safety. Everything is fine and dandy in the world, likely due to false sense of stability and complacency. So the world will fall into a false state of stability and complacency. And that is beginning to happen right now. 2025 started out as a year of some sorts. And then it says, "Sudden destruction cometh upon them." The sudden destruction actually refers to the wrath of Yah poured out on the unrepentant during the day of Yah. This destruction will come unexpectedly, like a thief in the night, catching people off guard. As travail upon a woman with child, simply emphasizing that it's a suddenness, it's a severity, and they shall not escape. Final phase underscores the inescapable nature of Yah's judgment for those who are not prepared. What it does, it highlights the futility of trying to escape Yah's wrath when it comes. You cannot escape it. So I just wanted to leave you with that today and share that with you, because many of those who are on this channel from time to time would message me and ask me, "Could you explain this? Could you explain that?" I get some things that I don't want to dive into because, I'm not a theologian. But from time to time, I come with it for you. And I will be doing that more and more as the time go by. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, guys.
What is the call sign? Over.
Call sign is Charlie 6 Bravo Foxtrot 5.
All right, guys. Venezuela and Guyana is at it again. Caribbean people have been urged to prepare for anything. And when we say anything, we mean anything, even a possible war in the Caribbean. This is not something new. We saw the flare-ups before. We saw the meetings that took place in St. Vincent to try to put a handle on it before. But this is not the first time that we're having flare-ups between Guyana and Venezuela. But this one looks like it's going to be something else. Of course, the United States has already got involved in this. So that's why I said to you, prepare for war, prepare for anything. Get your supplies now. Be prepared. This could be it. We don't know. We hope it's not, but it could be. This morning was very interesting.
This morning, Saturday, 1st of March 2025, at approximately 7 hours, a Venezuelan armed patrol ship entered Guyana's waters. During this incursion, the Venezuelan vessel approached various assets in our exclusive waters, including FPSO Prosperity. Assets and FPSO Prosperity are operating lawfully within Guyana's exclusive economic zone. Guyana's maritime boundaries are recognized under international law. We have already summoned the Venezuelan ambassador, the Minister of Foreign Affairs would have summoned him to his office, registering our strong protest over this matter. That we have reached out to all our international partners, and all our international partners have responded positively. These include the UK, France, the USS, RSS, CARICOM, and we continue.
The continues saying it is inadmissible and constitutes a serious violation of international law that Guyana has a territory over which there is a dispute, and worse still, has a seat pending delimitation granting illegal concessions for the exploitation of energy resources, while systematically evading its international obligations under the 1966 Geneva Convention. Venezuela demands that Guyana stops dodging this agreement and comply with its commitments to seek a negotiated, peaceful, practical, and satisfactory solution for both parties established in this binding instrument.
Well, there you have it. So Venezuela is basically saying, look, this water is disputed. It belongs to none of us, so all of us can traverse it. And there you have it. And so they're calling on the Argyle Agreement, which was made in St. Vincent. Of course, you know that the Prime Minister will have to get involved in this now because he's the interlocutor, which means the person between both parties. So you heard from Guyana, you heard from Venezuela. And then, of course, America decides that they're going to intervene in this matter as well. Remember, the U.S. has now taken away Chevron's license, so there's no more oil money for Venezuela, so they need money. U.S. warns Maduro of consequences for an incursion of Venezuelan warship into Ghana. It says the United States today issued a stern warning to Nicolas Maduro regime on Saturday following reports that a Venezuelan patrol boat entered into the Guyanese waters, threatening ExxonMobil's offshore operation. Of course, you know Exxon belongs to America, so you know what's going to be happening there. They're going to be protecting their assets. Venezuelan naval vessel threatening ExxonMobil's floating production, storage, and offloading FPSO unit is unacceptable and a clear violation of Guyana's internationally recognized maritime territory. State Department Bureau of Western Hemisphere said in its X account, further provocation resulting consequences for the Maduro regime. The United States reaffirmed its support for Guyana's territorial integrity, and in the 1899 Arbitral Award, it added, prepare for war, prepare for anything, because this issue can get out of hand. You see what's happening all around you. Not because the Caribbean is quiet mean nothing can't happen. The question is, whose side would CARICOM take in this matter? CARICOM is so divided on so many things. You saw how they voted in the Ukraine-Russia issue. Which side would CARICOM take? Well, they issued a statement today. They said CARICOM was informed by the president of Guyana of the interaction of a Venezuelan military vessel. And then they're saying all acts of aggression and provocation are contrary to international law and the 2023 Argyle Declaration. Expressing to Guyana and Venezuela are enjoined to avoid unnecessary confrontational actions. This provocative incident, initiated by Venezuela, runs counter to the agreed commitment of CARICOM and the Latin American states to ensure that the Caribbean region remains a zone of peace. It is critical that there be a peaceful resolution of the border controversy, which is still in the, of course, International Court of Justice, which already has conducted over the dispute. Backdrop, CARICOM calls on Venezuela to order the urgent removal of the vessel from Ghana's water and further to refrain from engaging with FPSO platforms, as has been reported. What is required now is more than ever patience, calm, and non-provocation on both sides, as was contemplated in the Argyle Declaration. A resolution of this controversy remains entirely possible without any acts of provocation or aggression. Of course, CARICOM regurgitates the same thing every time, but what is good to see in this one is that they are saying that the incident was initiated by Venezuela and it runs counter to the agreement that, you know, was born in Argyle in St. Vincent. So that is good to see that they're finally opening and see what's happening here and calling a spade a spade. If Guyana did it, they would call a spade a spade. If Venezuela is doing it, they would call a spade a spade. And that is good. That is very good because, you know, if anything is to happen, you ask yourself, which side would CARICOM take? Like I said to you before, the United States have already gotten involved because their assets are in Guyana's water, as they say. So look out, be prepared, get your supplies now.